Hi, my name is Jason Cooper, and I'm Sock Cop.
God, man. Well, welcome to the podcast, Jason. I think this is going to be one of the most fun podcasts I have ever had the privilege of doing. So thank you for coming out today because I think this is really cool.
Well, thanks for having me. I hope so.
Yeah.
Hoping we'll have some fun.
So for those of us that aren't familiar with your work, you are the creator and the man behind, literally, behind the character Sock Cop.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
And so you and I think we were trying to figure out where we knew each other from, and we met at like one of the podcast, side shows, if you will, for South Sounds, I think a number of years ago when they tried to add some tech components to that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, we run into each other a couple of times, I know.
So, but I just think when you reached out and were like, yeah, hey, I'll come on, I was like, oh my God, I get to interview a Sock. So, folks, if you're watching this today, there are going to be some components of this that, we really don't know how this is going to turn out. So just hang on, have some fun. So, but before we get started, before we go into any of that, I do want to know a little bit about you and, some of your backstory and stuff. So
Okay, yeah.
Why don't we start there? Tell us about yourself and where you're from. Are you from Mobile? Tell us, where'd you go to school? What kind of stuff you've gotten into, married, that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I'm from here. Grew up here in Mobile. Lived out west for a couple of years. Ended up coming back. And then graduated from South Alabama. And then went and got master's at Alabama. But that was online.
Very cool.
During the pandemic and stuff.
And what did you study?
Digital marketing.
Very cool.
Is what I got my the master's in. But I did communications for the undergrad. So I spent a lot of time working for the local news here. Did like cameraman stuff, and then moved into the marketing thing side. There. Yeah.
Yeah. And did you say you went to high school here too?
Yeah.
You
did. I went to Satsuma.
Okay, very cool. So you grew up out in Satsuma?
Yeah. You grew up in Saraland. That was before they built
before Saraland.
Saraland. Yeah, exactly. So I got priced right out of Saraland.
Saraland is vastly different now than it was even like 10 years ago.
Yes.
So, and you said you were married?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been married we have one daughter. She's 6. And so right now I'm kind of a stay-at-home dad, taking care of her, taking her back and forth to school and stuff like that. So that's nice.
No, it's fun. And, I know that that's a really important age too. So it's cool that you're able to do that.
Yeah. It's really nice. I'm trying to savor it while I can, for sure.
And I mean, tell us about you as kind of like a student. Would you think of yourself as someone who was a good student, or were you? I was a solid C student, So I mean, and what we found is that there's across the gamut. There are people in the Mobile business community that failed out and didn't even go to high school, and there's that have doctoral degrees. Now, you said you had your master's from Alabama, so obviously you must like school a little bit.
Yeah. I liked it enough. Well, I kind of grew up with that idea because neither of my parents graduated high school. So they were under the impression, like a lot of people of that age were, that college degree, that's your key to, to the world. So I had that drilled in my head. So I was always pretty good at school. It kind of came easy to me. And I just sort of went through the paces of that. And then whenever I graduated, I was like, all right, I got my degree. And everybody was like, okay, that's
great.
Fine.
Yeah.
And then, so I asked my family, I was like, hey, I got the degree. And they were like, we don't know. We never made it that far. So I don't know what happens after that. So
it's, we were chatting a little bit before this, and it is interesting how things have so drastically changed. And now parents are like, hey, you want to become a plumber?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's so weird because my dad would always say stuff like that because he was like a welder for a period of time, working hard and everything.
Hey,
that was his idea. He didn't want me to have to go out there and bust, my butt all the time. And then after graduating, it's like, well, I'm having a tough time finding a job. He was like, you should have been a welder or something like that. And I was like, come on, man, you kidding me?
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
To my dad's credit, he actually tried to talk me into going into the trades.
Yeah.
And he said, like you should go and be a plumber or HVAC or whatever first, and then use the money to go to college because he wasn't paying for it.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I didn't go into great debt, getting my degree. But again, I graduated. I did have I had a different situation than you in that I was in DC, and college graduates were being utilized quite a bit at that time. But I can see how in a smaller market it would have been, a completely different experience. But tell me about your first job. And I ask this question, because we talk about workforce development a lot in this area. And so what I often find is that people don't, they don't consciously think about the ways that they became who they are and where they are. And I'm just wondering if there were any lessons that you remember from your first job, flipping burgers or scrubbing toilets or whatever it was, working on the farm or, whatever that first job was. So were there any lessons that you still remember from that first job?
Oh yeah, for sure. I worked, first job was at KFC, so pretty close to flipping burgers. I was dunking chicken.
Yeah.
So it was very close enough.
Yeah.
Cleaning toilets and stuff like that, for sure.
For sure.
And did that for a while. What I learned, I don't know. I haven't really thought about what I learned from working fast food and stuff.
I usually give these, and if there's not one, we'll move on. But I give the example of I didn't realize that there was really kind of a right way to do everything.
Yeah.
So everything from, I had a former, he was an officer in the Navy who I worked for in my first job. And he was like, no, there's a right way to mop the floor, and showed me how to mop a floor because he didn't want me to have to sweep and then mop. He was like, yeah, you just get a wet mop, do it this way. And floors were spotless.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, that's a good lesson to learn. I guess looking back on it now, I think I try to sort of enjoy wherever I'm at in life because, at the time you're working, you're like, I was a kid. I was 16, 17 or whatever when I started. So you're just doing whatever, but you're like, I got to go do this job or do this thing, whatever it is, that you've got to wake up and do that day that maybe you don't want to do. Later on down the road, you're going to look back and be like, those were some good times. A lot of that gets kind of,
swept under the rug.
Yeah, it gets swept under the rug, a lot of the bad parts. But I think it's still important to, wherever you're at in life, good times, bad times, to just be like, take a moment every once in a while and just kind of be like, here's where I am,
Wise words for sure. Because, there are lessons to be learned, every step of the way.
Oh, yeah.
Now, so what is Sock Cop?
Sock Cop is a sock. It is a
Sock
cop. It really is not much more complicated than that.
Yeah.
I went for communications at school, and so we had like a little crew of people, and we would always do short films and stuff like that, enter the film scrambles and stuff downtown, and we all got together. But then as we started graduating, it was harder to get people together to do anything creative, so I had to come up with something that I could do on my own.
Right.
And I was like, well, I can get a green screen, I can make like a puppet or something that I could just, and I could do another one and have it talk to it, and I could do it all by myself, so that way I don't have to try to coordinate everybody's schedules and stuff. And so I just looked around at what I had, and I had a sock, and I had...
Everybody's got a couple.
Everybody's got a few.
At least two.
I had a police hat from, I don't even know where I got it from, but it was like another puppet. So I had the police hat, and I had the sunglasses, so I was like, I'll just make a cop, because that's what I've got.
That's great.
So then I just sort of spitballed from there, and I was like, well, a cop's not really inherently very funny, but then I was like, well, I'll just have him go after speeders. That's his thing. Like, he doesn't care. He's not worried about murderers or stopping crime or anything like that. Speeders. Like,
so
that's
you're niching down,
yes,
as they would say in the communications.
Exactly. Niched on down.
Yeah. Not only a sock, but he's a cop, and now he's chasing speeders. But,
exactly. Yeah. So that's his whole shtick is catching speeders. It's a gateway crime. So.
And so you have, obviously you've put a lot of work into this, because we've, I think that event that we met each other at was probably close to a decade ago. Yeah. And so how long have you been doing Sock Cop?
I did a couple of YouTube videos, probably around 2013, I would say.
Okay, so 13, 14 years of this.
Yeah. And then it's been off and on. I throw the videos up, and still to this day they have like 200 views. Nobody has really seen a whole lot of them. But then whenever I discovered a live streaming app called Periscope, and I was just watching that, and I was like, oh, I got Sock Cop. I wonder if that would be good. I hadn't really seen anybody doing that on there. Yeah. And then just as soon as I started the first day, there was like a bunch of people showed up, and everybody was just asking questions, and I just went, and I was like, it kind of unlocked this thing in my brain of just like, this is fun. Like, I have a really good time doing this, just interacting with people and just off the top of the head. And
yeah, I would imagine that I get it, right? Because as a creative, you've got to have some way to get that out. And I think all of us are searching for, I mean, we're all kind of artists, constrained inside of this world of, design, and
Right.
advertising and stuff like that. And so, we always dream about, well, this job would be great if it wasn't for the clients. I'm not saying anything that, nobody in the advertising industry hasn't said that, before, because we have a vision for how something should be. And then, oftentimes the committee or the client or whomever gets a hold of it, and it's like, it becomes this other thing,
Yeah.
and it loses its polish to us, its luster. And so we're all looking for that one thing that kind of becomes, in a way, this is my thing,
Yeah.
right? Woodworking is my thing. I have my thing that
Oh, that's cool.
that I
that
get
you
out,
did woodworking.
right? Yeah. And so, but I get it. And so I just think it's fascinating. But I think, there's something to be said here for, I mean, if you had contacted me or if we had never met before and I knew that you had only been doing this for like a year, I would be a lot more hesitant. But there's something to be said for the fact that you've been doing this for longer than a decade.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I don't
not
know
sure
that,
what that
I don't know
says
that
about me.
I don't know that you thought about that before you actually answered that question.
Yeah.
That you've been doing this for as long as you have. But it's like, how do you keep that going?
That's a good question. I think just because of the fly by the seat of the pants nature of it, because most of what I do is live. I mean, I'll do
Yeah.
pre-recorded videos and stuff every once in a while, but it's just kind of it's similar to being like on a stage or something where you don't really exactly know how everything's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So each time is a little bit different, and I mean, there's a flow
For sure.
to
I mean, you have
things
a
and stuff
structure
like
or
that.
something so that you can kind of constrain it
Yeah, it's
and not
got-
have it be, explode in your face.
Exactly. There's
Yeah.
tent poles there that I can always go back to, if I need to touch base. But I think it's that just kind of free flowing thing, because I'm a perfectionist. So for me to like make something, especially like, you're talking about doing design, I've done, design work
Right.
and stuff for clients and everything. So even before I present like the first thing to them, I'm like, oh, well, let me make sure and
Yeah.
tweak every little thing. But when you're live, it is what it is. And it's just like, that's so comforting to my brain to just not have to worry about it.
Yeah, because that is a massive struggle for somebody that's a creative that wants it to be a certain way.
Yeah.
Because then when you start getting into, the video and you start thinking about, okay, this is the longevity of this. This is going to be out there. And even yesterday, because this woodworking thing is kind of taking a turn for me. Right, I'm starting a new channel. I'm starting, new social accounts. I'm starting all this stuff
Oh, that's exciting.
for this and kind of moving into a new space as a content creator. But even yesterday, I was like struggling with like, I needed a post for Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I made myself just go find something and just like first post,
Yeah.
send.
I have to do the same thing. I just have to just let go.
Well, it
and
was
just
because
do
it was like, if I didn't do the first one, it only gets better from there.
Yeah.
Right? If I didn't do the first one, if I didn't take that first step, then I was worried that I would never take that first step.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's, being a perfectionist and being in the creative space, it's kind of like, how do you, like, and I guess maybe it just becomes second nature that you just like, hey, I put the sock on and I turn the camera on and I don't even think about it anymore. But I think, there's also something to be said for, just, I don't know, the mentality of like, I'm just gonna ship it. It's okay that it's not okay. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if you have anything to add to that or.
Yeah, no, that's hard for me. I get really precious about stuff, and even now, like I know, like TikTok and Instagram videos and things like that. Or today, by the time somebody watches this, those may be going. Who knows?
This is being recorded in February 2026.
Exactly. But I get so precious about it because I want it to be good and I want it, But it's the actual game is about the shotgun approach. Like as much, it's a numbers game.
Yeah, it really
more than
is.
it is a quality.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because you would think that it would be, but I think so many people go into it and they don't realize, but if I think about all the channels that I've found over, say, the last 10 years that have really kind of like impressed themselves on my mind, it's guys that vlog every day.
Yeah.
It's, Casey Neistat, it's Peter McKinnon, it's, the DDE guys from Daily Driven Exotics. Like for a while there, every single one of those people was uploading, significant amounts. And there were some videos where I would watch the whole thing, second by second. And there are some where it's just kind of like, I put it on and, it's background noise.
Yeah.
But, but I'm still checking in and I'm still, I don't know. What have you ever thought about that? Is there something to that? Like, why is it that the quantity seems to matter more in that space than the quality?
I don't know. It's something I kind of struggle with myself, but I do the same thing. I mean, I'll find somebody that, that paints or does crafts or something like that, and it'll just be a 45-minute video of them just doing that, and I'll put it on, and then I think a lot of people do, the whole second screen thing. Yeah. So they're on their phone or whatever, then that's on. Yeah. So but I still grew up, watching a lot of TV. That was kind of what, so I still have that mentality as opposed to the, the social, like it's on in the background stuff. Like
right.
My kind of mindset is like, this is the forefront of the attention. You got to like keep people's attention and do the,
Yeah.
And I think, there's lessons in that for sure. But as far as, that's why I say I get too precious with a lot of stuff. And I'm like, oh, I could do this, but I'm like, is it good enough? And then I'll talk myself out of it. And then I make nothing, which if you're trying to be online, that's a death sentence, to not have anything up there. So.
No, definitely. The quantity is making it. I don't know. There's something there, but I'll have to dig into that a little bit more. But you mentioned moving over. Which one was it? Periscope, if I remember correctly, that you just said that you moved to, and it was like people were there live.
Yeah. That was the first. So live streaming thing.
And the question normally is, do you remember the first time you made a sale or that you did, whatever, that made you think that there might be something to this? And I'm gathering that was that moment for you, but I don't want to assume.
Yeah, well, that was fun, and it was really cool to have people show up. But then as I did, because I was like obsessed with it at first. I was doing it every night. I would come home from work, and I was getting home late. So, I was going on at like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning is when I would start. And it just started to build and build, and then eventually people were asking for like T-shirts and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, well, how can I make T-shirts? And I knew a guy that had a T-shirt place, so I went and got some made and sent. So I guess it is kind of a first sale type of thing. Whenever somebody was like, I want to give you money for this, and to me, I'm like, this is just fun.
Right.
I'm just having a great time. Do it. Like, I appreciate you watching. Like that's, you know what I mean? And I still feel that way. But
so I have to ask too. When you were a kid, did you watch a lot of Muppets or Fraggle Rock or any of the assorted, kind of puppet, shows? Was that?
Yeah, I watched whatever came on basically, like Nickelodeon and stuff. And
what was
I
the
liked
one
the
that
Muppets,
was actually like an old school? Like you used to be able to buy one that was like an old school sock puppet. And I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I'll have to go back. Somebody that's older than 50 years old will have to get in the comments and remind us who that was. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I'm trying to think of who that was too. But no, I was big. Probably cartoons more than anything. I like puppets, but I've never and the Muppets and stuff like that. I love that, but I was never like obsessed with it.
Yeah,
like
it wasn't like you had a Jim Henson fascination or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
I like Jim Henson a lot. He had that show. I forget which one it was. It wasn't Storytellers, but it was The World of Jim Henson, something like that.
Yeah,
and that was where I first saw blue screen technology and how that got used. He did like a behind the scenes, like here we are.
So how's blue screen different than green screen? I should know this. I don't.
Oh no, it's just different colors.
Okay.
But I just mean I was
some
a kid.
Screen, yeah.
But just like that special effect of like, wait a minute, he's not really in that spot. He's like, it's just like a picture or video. And
what's just happened here?
So that blew my mind, and I was like, whoa! And I was kind of obsessed with the green screen thing after that, which I didn't have the capabilities to do that for another 10, 15 years.
Now you can do it for like $10.
Yeah,
it's like God bless.
And then now, I do it all the time. But so that was really important. What was the question? You said,
what
was I watching?
No, it's just, were you a big fan of like Muppets or Fraggle Rock or something? Because it just seems like, to go down that path, that maybe there was some sort of influence. But I get it because, I think we're not so dissimilar in age.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, there were a lot of shows that used, even like I just got back from a trip to Disney. And even to this day, they're still using puppetry in some of the shows, the live shows and stuff like that. And so, it's cool to see. But so if you were talking to someone, the question is normally if you were talking to someone that wanted to get started in running their own business, what's one bit of wisdom that you would impart to them? But if you were, I would consider you a content creator. And so if you were talking to someone that wanted to get started in running a content creator kind of role, what would you say to them?
I would say a lot of things that I need to learn myself, kind of like just do
Yeah.
it thing, make
Yeah.
it exist before you make it perfect and stuff like that. And also make sure that
Wait,
you,
stop.
yeah,
Say it again. Louder for the people in the back.
make it exist before you try to make it perfect.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's something my brain
Yeah.
has big trouble with doing that.
Yeah.
But that would be a bit of advice. Also, make sure that it's something that you enjoy doing. I know a lot of people, because now I stream on Twitch, which, I do the puppet show and stuff, so it's not, but video games are still kind of big. So a lot of people, I want to be a Twitch streamer, so you get paid to play video games or whatever.
Right.
But there's
It's
like a
really
lot
anything.
more
Yeah.
to it,
These are just platforms that can be used for streaming whatever
Yeah.
it is. They become known for, and this isn't for you, you know this, but for them, it's really just kind of what format or what features they offer, how they build community, what do they allow you to do sales, can I charge membership, that kind of thing. So, but how do you find Twitch? You've obviously looked at some of the other platforms and you think that that's the one.
Yeah, Twitch that's where I'm at mainly right now. I send it off to Facebook and YouTube, but for different reasons. Most people actually see it because people don't really watch it much on Facebook, but they'll see that I'm on and then they'll go to Twitch. So it's just more like an alert
Yeah.
to let people know that I'm on. And then YouTube stores it forever.
Okay.
So whereas Twitch, it's only there for like 2
So
weeks
you
or
can be
something.
reminded forever and ever.
Yeah.
Just how that video went.
Exactly.
So now, what motivates you to work hard on this, though? I mean, because nobody's driving you to do this. There's no manager standing over you saying, "Hey, you got to meet the deadline."
Yeah.
The client wants this brief done by this time. Why do you even keep doing this?
Just while I'm doing it, and just the feeling that I get from it, and talking with people and interacting. Like I've made a lot of friends, and I've met a lot of people, that started watching, and then I'll collaborate with a lot of them and things. So I mean, a lot of these people are, have become good friends and stuff. So it's kind of like that sense of community that keeps me going, which is really weird that I have done it for this long, because my default state is to just do nothing. Like
Right.
if I don't have somebody saying you should do this.
Do you find that your default state is nothing, or your default state is to find something new that is interesting to you?
I like looking for new things, but mentally, you know what I mean? So I'll try to find like a new hobby or something like that, or a new
Right.
game to play or
You know
something
what I'm
like
talking
that.
about, though?
But
And,
yeah.
Curiosity is my superpower. It's also my greatest weakness.
Yeah.
Right? Like, curiosity is what drives me to sit here and have a conversation with you about
Right.
a puppet, a sock puppet. But, it's also can be a detractor in the sense that, like how do you stay motivated to do the same thing over and over and over again, and have that what becomes discipline after a while, or that becomes muscle memory after a while, because like a lot of times like nobody's paying me to do this. I'm not making any money sitting here talking to you.
Right.
As a matter of fact, as I'm sure you have, I've invested lots of money in getting this podcast out
Right.
to people, and so but there's just something that I like hearing people's stories, and I like learning from others. I think there's no better way than to learn than to sit and have a conversation with people, and so I think that's kind of what drives me to keep this going.
Yeah.
But that's not the same for other things that I kind of go through in my life. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm the same. I had a podcast for a little while too, and I loved like talking to people, and that part of it I loved. And then whenever it came time to like edit it and put it all together and stuff
Yeah.
like that, that's when I was like, oh, why am I doing this? So eventually I stopped.
That's why I don't edit these.
Yeah, that's the smart thing to do.
You just have to record them and put them up there. Now, are there any books, podcasts, people, or organizations, pick one or whatever, that have been helpful in moving you forward
Ooh, let's see.
as a sock?
As a sock, I'm trying to think if there's anything that's kind of directly influenced that part of it. No, I mean, I listen to podcasts and videos and stuff like that of just creative people that do stuff. And I admire that so much because I have to force myself to do things.
Yeah.
And I've got the drive like my body needs to make something, but then my body also wants to sit down and eat a sandwich and do that. So that's like a constant battle. So I like seeing people that do stuff. So there hasn't really been like a whole lot of stuff that I've just watched like for years and years and years. I kind of pick things up and put them down.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of one that.
I mean, recently I've gotten into a YouTube channel called Dave's Auto Center, and shout out to Dave, Centerville, Utah, or wherever they're at. I have no affiliation with these guys, and they're diesel mechanics.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I have never owned a diesel truck in my life. Explain to me why I'm so fascinated by this channel. It's just like you get sucked into these things at times, and I just, that's what I mean by like my curiosity. Mm-hmm. Like I'm curious about diesel and I think when I look at that, the only thing that I can take away from my fascination with that is that there are principles from that I pull out of it. It's the expertise that they show, the process that they go through when they're diagnosing the vehicle, how they double check everything afterwards, the integrity with which they do everything. Those are the things that I kind of look at and I'm like, man, there's something to be learned here. Yeah. Like from a business perspective, I can look at this and go, man, if you just took this and put it, here, like it would change things. But anyway.
See, that's why you're where you are. You have that mindset of like, how could I apply this to business? I'm like, I wonder if I could make a puppet out of that.
Do I need to use a hot glue gun or do I need to sew it? But no, I mean, I have to, because otherwise I'm like, I just look at that as, wasting, hours of my time. But if you look at it from the perspective of like, well, I mean, there's something to be learned from everything.
Yeah.
Then, what is it that I'm supposed to learn out of this? Anyway, so what's the most important thing that you learned about being a sock puppet?
Most important thing that I've learned?
A creative, like I'm playing.
Man, that is a really good question. I keep coming back to kind of like that sense of community, really. That's really been key to the whole deal for me, is the other people and stuff that are around. And I don't discuss like politics or whatever, and I keep it clean. It's not for kids,
right?
But I want to keep it clean because to me it's super easy to take something like a Muppet, but we'll make it for adults.
Extreme.
Like we'll make it extreme, and people have done that, to varying degrees of success or whatever. Yeah. But it's a challenge to myself to keep all that stuff away, and not necessarily because I don't have thoughts or opinions about things, but just because it's more of a challenge that way. Right. And I also kind of like the mundane thing. So I've got a phone line, so people will call in or whatever, but nobody talks like about current events or anything like that. It's always like, what'd you have for dinner, or what's going on with you, and stuff, and that's like super interesting to me. Just like, I just love people.
They're looking for an escape,
yeah,
and that's what you're offering.
And that's obviously. And I like that. Hopefully I can be that for some people.
So when you went to, you studied communications, and then you said you did advertising. Is that right, for your master's? What was the degree in?
Alabama. Master's in digital marketing.
Okay. So when you did that, what was, because I know Alabama's program, if I remember correctly, from undergraduate, they really kind of make you choose, like, are you a designer, illustrator, are you a videographer, that kind of thing. Did you have like a angle with which that you approach that? Like, were you a writer, a videographer, a designer, or what?
Yeah, all the undergrad stuff was like, that was all like design and videography and stuff, and I worked in that for a while. But then as part of a job that I was working, I got into like data analytics, and I really, really enjoyed that.
Well, no, I'm asking for a different reason. So like my son went to Alabama and studied advertising. As part of that, they made him kind of like, he had to, his application of that, even though he was studying, I guess, kind of to become more of an art director, but he still had to know Illustrator and know how, to work within that tool and, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas other people in that class were videographers, and they were approaching it from that perspective. Did you have kind of a lean, or were you just kind of like across the board? What made you initially kind of interested in that? Was it, was it the illustration and stuff like that? Or, when you...
No, I was actually trying to kind of get away from that as a job. I like doing that kind of stuff and making things, but kind of like you were talking about earlier, when you do it for a client or for a company or something like that, then it's, you do something, then it gets changed, and then it gets changed again, then the end result is completely different from what, and that's just part of, when you do it for, if somebody else is paying you to do it,
right,
then you're going to do it for them.
No, I was just thinking because, like, obviously what you do while off the cuff is very much kind of like you're writing, but you're writing immediately. Like somebody's giving you a question and you're writing. And I just wasn't sure if you had like a background as a creative writer or something like that, because that my background is writing. I English lit degree. I did creative writing in college, and some other stuff. I was also a music major, so I have like the audio side of of things too. Although that doesn't apply at all really to what I do.
Yeah.
But I was just curious about that, because it seems like you would have to almost be a creative writer in the sense of like coming up, like, what are we going to talk about? How am I going to answer this question? Things like that. So.
Yeah, my mind operates that way for sure. As far as like creative writing, I've done, writing and stuff before. I minored in English in undergrad.
Okay. So you had that.
I
that
took a bunch
angle.
of that. Yeah. But the reason I went back to Alabama to get the master's, I was actually trying to get out of kind of the creative thing, because, and I started going in right around when the pandemic hit. So this is really before like all the AI stuff really started taking off. So I wanted to go in and do like data analytics. I wanted something that I wanted a job that I could go in. Here's how you do this job. Okay, I'm done with that job. Now I can go home and do what I want. You know what I mean? The creative thing of it. And then
preach.
Yeah. So that didn't really work out.
Yeah.
But so that was my motivation. But as far as like everything before, because I grew up, I wanted to be, in a band. So I played guitar and stuff like that. And, we're always creating, doing stuff. And then you get out into the world and people are like, hey, we can use those skills, but you're going to do what we want you to do with it, which is fine. Like, it's
practical application of a creative skill.
Yeah.
Fastest way to kill a creative on the planet.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's just, because here's my next, thought is, man, you really, if you have that bent, why not make this, I guess there's my weakness coming up again. Like, why not take that and, hone a 30-minute, comedy, thing or something, because we have these guys, Jeff Dunham, comes to mind, like these huge superstar comedians that use puppetry as a way of making people laugh. And that's obviously a space that you're living in, but you're doing it online.
Right.
Have you ever thought about making that into something that's more, or are you going to just keep this as like, I want this to be a creative endeavor?
I definitely have thought about it before and tried to figure out kind of like a roadmap of what I would want to do to do that. And I did, especially in the early days when because I've done, YouTube stuff and all this but nothing ever got any attention,
Right.
So the first thing that I did that kind of got, a little bit of, steam behind it. And I had like a pitch with Adult Swim and stuff, talking about the show, and a couple other people that were like, hey, let's turn this into a thing. But everybody, they all took the wrong kind of ideas away from it. Like they wanted it to be like a cop show with a thing. And I'm like, that's not the point. The point is not that he's like a
it's
cop.
The silliness of it.
It's the silliness of the thing. And they wanted to take, we'll do this, but
right.
And like, that's not really what I wanted to do.
And then taking something that you're doing to, like get something out of you. And then it just becomes like you replaced your work with the thing that you love.
Yeah.
I did that with photography and it kills me.
Yeah. You see, like a hobby or something, you turn it into a career, and then you got to deal with all of the grinding aspects of it, and with all the other voices and stuff, and it's just it'll suck the joy out of something. So I've been kind of precious with it, but I have thought about wanting to to put together like an act to go around and do, but I just haven't. I just fluctuate, go back and forth on.
No, I mean, like in all seriousness, because like I think if you've been doing this for this long, like, and you've had some success with this, like why. But doing it on your terms.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that listening to comedians talk about their process and about how they go about putting together an hour-long show, trying different angles and looking at things from a different perspective and stuff like that. Like you have the ability to get online and try those things out nightly if you wanted to, you know. And I just think it would be really neat to see, you know, how far, you know, that. But that's me and my weakness and wanting to like, I want to do something that I love, you know, and I want to have ultimate control of it. I want to be, you know, I want to be Draplin, you know, which is, you know, a reference that you'll get, but maybe most of them won't. I don't know. I just think that there's, you know, there's always something there, and I think you're so close. It's just like, man, I encourage you to kind of like take that next step
I
if you have
appreciate
it.
that.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
So
yeah, I thought about, but you know, but it also comes from it all seems too pie in the sky to really, you know what I mean?
no, 100%.
Because you
It's
grow
like, oh,
up,
that'll never work.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, and then people keep saying no. No,
Yeah,
you really
give it
need
a
to
try.
do this.
Do it, you know.
Yeah,
give it a
yeah, but
shot.
whatever. Because
Like-
I mean, you know, the perfectionist raises its ugly head, and you just need to deck it right
Yeah,
in the nose.
that's what I need to do, man. And it's you know, other people could do that kind of stuff, but I just never could. But for whatever, you know, just that self-doubt or whatever. That's, you know, a lot of my weakness comes from that.
Well, what's the most important thing that you've learned about running a business?
Oh, the most important thing that I've learned about running a business is I don't really know how to run a business.
Yeah.
I've learned that.
Because
I've
I mean,
learned that
there is
I
a
have lot to
business
learn.
aspect to this.
Yeah,
you know, I
there
mean,
is.
obviously you're selling goods and, you know, merchandise and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, anything that you'd say about, you know, keeping that going or how to apply your skills or anything like that?
No, the hardest thing for me is just accept the fact that somebody would want to give me some money for this. That's really been the hardest part of the whole deal. It just, you know, I just want to like give stuff away. Like if somebody wants a T-shirt, I'm just so like thrilled that they would want a T-shirt of something that I did that I'm like, I would love to just give it, but obviously I can't just materialize them. So
well, I think that most of us that are in this kind of space, we just have something, like we've said, we just have something that we have to get out. But so we just look at it from that perspective, not realizing that most people don't think this way.
Right. Yeah.
They don't. Mm-hmm. And it's only through some conversations that I've had with a good friend recently where I've come to understand, like, there's no other person in the world that thinks the way that I think. There's no other person in the world that thinks the way that you think. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, like from how you perceive things in the world to how you address problems to the experiences that you have, what you take away from those experiences. And so, you know, but also just being a creative, that most people don't think that way. And most people never get as far as you've gotten if you had even just done one episode. The fact that you've been doing this for over a decade, I mean, just speaks volumes. So, I mean, that's, you know, my pitch to you.
Oh, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So now I would like to ask you 12 rapid fire questions, but I'm going to ask if you'd like to bring Sock Cop into this to have him answer these questions.
Sure, yeah.
Well, Sock Cop.
Hey, Marcus Netto, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. It's great to have you here. We were talking to your buddy. We were just getting some background information, but I wanted to give you a chance to maybe answer a question or two. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I don't know why you're talking to that guy anyway.
I know, man. I mean, what is he, just an arm?
Yeah, it's just some guy that follows me around. I don't know what his deal is.
Well, listen, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, you don't have to get into great detail, but, you know, just give us a little bit of information about who you are, Sock Cop.
Well, my name is Sock Cop. First name Sock, last name Cop. I've been catching speeders for a long, long time. I am a policeman. A lot of people get scared about that. They think, you know, I'm going to, you know, come up to them and give them a, you know, arrest them or something like that. But as long as you're not speeding, then we're cool. You and me are cool. And I've been doing this since, basically since cars were invented. There's time travel involved. There's a whole backstory. I don't want to get into it, but we can if you want to. But I catch the speeders and I talk to the peoples on the internet today.
Well, Sock Cop, we really appreciate your efforts and keeping our streets safe. So,
well, I'm trying. They make it hard out there, though. Everybody's speeding.
Do you have anything that you'd like to say to the drivers out there about, you know, being safe and, you know, keeping it slow and all that stuff?
Oh yeah. Go a lot of people get confused. A lot of people say, oh, if it's the speed limit is 55 and I go 56, do I get a ticket? And I'm going to ask you a simple math question. Is 56 more than 55? Yes, it is. Whammo ticket for you. That is the limit. The limit is on the sign right there. Just pay attention to that. They are clearly posted all up and down the roads, so pay attention to that.
Man, you are as soup Nazi can be about speeding, are you not?
Oh, I love soup. Yeah,
It's delicious on a cold winter day.
it is.
So, well, listen, Sock Cop, I got 12 rapid fire questions for you. You think you can handle that?
I think I can. I'll do my best. Yeah, hit me with it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, number one, what's your favorite type of music?
My favorite type of music is the rock and roll music. Yeah.
Awesome. What's your favorite type of food?
My favorite type of food, any sort of pasta that you got. Any
Yeah.
sort of pasta.
You
That's my
sound
favorite.
like you've got some Italian influence.
You
So
know, maybe. I need to spit in a tube and send it off to 23andMe, see if I got some Italian in there, maybe.
that's awesome. And how about your favorite restaurant in all of Lower Alabama?
Oh my goodness gracious, that's a good. You know, the unfortunate thing is a lot of times restaurants they're here today, gone tomorrow. So I keep thinking of ones that are around. But I do. You know, it's hard to beat the Foosackleys, man. Hard to
Right?
beat the Foosackleys.
You like their sauces, huh?
I do love the sauces. I love the
I
sauces. I
hear
like
that.
to get one of those buffalo chicken sandwich thing. Oh man, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
What is your favorite city outside of Mobile?
Oh man, well I spent some time out west and had a good time. So I think probably Phoenix, Arizona. I really like Phoenix, Arizona. Nice and warm over there.
Nice.
I'm a tropical sock. You know, I like the warm temperatures. I'm not good in the snow.
I hear that. No snow for you.
No sir.
Now, what city do you want to travel to but you haven't been to yet?
You know, I'd love to go up to like the Seattle's area, up around in the Pacific Northwest. I want to go looking for some Bigfoot. I would love to catch a Bigfoot, and he's not around here. I've looked. I think he's up there.
Nice. And what comes to mind when I say guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure. Ooh, it makes me think of like Honey Boo Boo or something like that. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Like garbage TV, which I really love.
Do you like to binge watch some garbage TV?
Oh, I love it. I love binge watching the garbage TV. I was watching this daggum show on Netflix about these old people going on dates, and I was like, "Why am I watching this show about old people going on dates?" It's because the remote was over there and I was over here.
Now, dogs, cats, or none of the above?
Oh, I like a dog. I'm a big dog person. Cats, their claws, they get stuck on my fibers and things. I got to be careful with a cat. I used to have a cat, and I had to go get some work done after playing with the cat. You know what I mean? But dogs, you know, some of them can be a little chewy, but I like a dog.
I hear that. Summer or winter?
Oh, I like a summer. I like a summer
Yeah,
over winter.
I think we covered you don't like the cold.
Yeah, I do not do well in the snow. I'm very, you know, you would think that maybe because I'm made of cotton that I'd be insulated, but I'm very breathable.
Right.
Very breathable, Marcus, so it's hard for me.
Now, you mentioned a dating show, but are there any of your favorite movies or TV shows?
Oh man, you know, probably my favorite movie of all time is Young Frankenstein. I love that movie.
Now, why is that, Sock Cop?
Well, because it's hilarious. That movie's so funny, and it's like an old movie too. A lot of times you watch an old movie, and they say like all these old timey jokes, like "You, sir, do not have the look of a fish that is blue" or something like that. And I'm like, what does that mean? I don't get it. But all this humor holds up, so it's still really good.
No, that's great. And what's your favorite holiday?
Oh, Halloween! I'm a big Halloween guy. I love that. I like the trick or treats, and I'm already in costume, so it makes it easy for me.
No, that's great. Now, and do you have a favorite color?
Green. Green is my favorite color because it means that you can go, you don't have to stop anymore, and you can go at a reasonable speed. That's my favorite color.
Now, Sock Cop, do you have a favorite cereal?
Oh, I love cereal. Yes, indeed. I like honeycomb. Honeycomb is good. That's probably one of my favorites. And also, you know what? I like what is that stuff with the almonds? What is it called? Honey bunches of oats. Yeah, because it's just fun to say with the almonds.
That's great. Now, Sock Cop, this is a little more serious question, so you can try and answer this as best as you can.
Okay.
What are you most thankful for?
I am most thankful for all of the peoples that surround me, all the peoples that are around, the people that hang out with me, and you know, the ones that I talk to all the time. You know, I get a little emotional thinking about it. All of my good friends and colleagues and stuff, but just the people around me. That's what I'm most thankful for.
That's amazing. Even a sock can have feelings, folks.
Oh, I got deep feelings. I got deep feelings.
I hear that. Well, Sock Cop, I appreciate you making an appearance on our podcast. Anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, just don't be speeding out there. Just live life at a reasonable speed, and you'll enjoy it a lot more that way.
All right, Sock Cop. Thank you so much.
All right, smooches for you, my friend. Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon. So tell us a little bit about where people can find you.
Mostly on Twitch is the thing. I have a website, sockoprocks.com, but I think it just goes to my Twitch now.
Okay.
I used to have a website, but then now I don't.
Sure. It just becomes another thing you have to maintain. And I think Twitch offers a lot of the same functionality.
Yeah, it's a lot of
right?
things. Because basically the website was just trying to get people to watch on Twitch anyway. So I was just like, I'll just quit paying this thing a year and just have it go there. So I got a lot to learn with a lot of that part too. But a lot of things I need to do on that end. But yeah, Sock Cop used to be the like second or third thing that came up when you Google. Now I'm further up in the ranks. There was like a little plastic clip called a sock cop, and it holds your socks together in the laundry, and they called it a sock cop. So when I first started, that was like the first thing that.
But do you outrank it now, or do you know, or have you not checked?
The last time I checked, but it's different for everybody with Google results and all that kind of stuff. But I got people one time on a stream. I was like, Google it and see what comes up, and they're like, yeah.
I Googled, obviously, when you said you wanted to come on. I Googled just to see where you were showing up.
Yeah.
And I don't remember ever seeing anything other than you. So
yeah. I think I overtook them now.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that.
You took those plastic clips down. So, all right. Well, I want to thank you again for coming on the podcast. To wrap up, any final thoughts or comments you'd like to share?
Thanks so much for having me. This has been one of the funnest podcasts that I've been on. You had some good questions and stuff, and I appreciate your advice.
Yeah,
I think
it's free.
I know. I was fully expecting the bill in the mail after this.
No.
But
so you do with it what you will. You know how free advice is. Everybody's, it's like assholes. Everybody's got one. So, but no, man. I mean, I think people creating is something to be celebrated. Whether you're creating a business or creating videos online to make people forget about their business problems.
Yeah.
There's value in that. So,
I appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks for having me. A lot of big wigs have sat on this couch. It's an honor to be here, man. I appreciate that.
Anyway. Well, Sock Cop, I appreciate your willingness to sit with me and share your journey as a business owner and entrepreneur. It's been great talking with you, man.
Appreciate it.